What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome to yet another edition of Coos' Corner, your go-to channel for college sports, with a heavy dose of these West Virginia Mountaineers. Before I preview West Virginia's first two opponents in the Shriners Charleston Classic in college basketball, I want to ask that if you haven't yet, please hit the red subscribe button. Please give me the thumbs up if you like the video. Please share it with your college sports-loving friends. Now let's get on with the show. West Virginia's first opponent is the Elon Phoenix from the Colonial Conference. Elon boasts a record of 2-1. Their two wins against Randolph, and who I've never heard of, to be honest, and Bluefield University, who's actually a small Division II school here close to where I live. Elon beat both of those teams pretty handily. But like I said, both of those are small schools. Their one loss is to Florida by 11 points. When you look at stats on Elon, they average about 40 rebounds a game. So they can rebound the basketball. They can shoot the ball really well. They're shooting 42% as a team from three-point range. And that's led by guard Zach Irvin, who's a 6'5 junior. He's averaging 16 points a game right now, shooting 48% from three-point range. But now that stat's a little bit deceiving, that scoring stat, because 29 of his points were in the game against Bluefield. He only scored 3 in the Florida game. So which Zach Irvin's going to show up, I don't know. An interesting little fact about Zach Irvin, he's from the same small town in southwest Virginia, Gate City, that Mac McClung grew up in. Most of you probably remember Mac McClung from Georgetown and then later on at Texas Tech. West Virginia actually played against him last year. But these two were likely teammates because Gate City is a very small town, and there's a Gate City High School. So those two likely played together, with Zach being a couple years younger than Mac. But I just thought that was an interesting little trivia for you there. But Elon's best player is probably Hunter McIntosh. He's a 6'2 junior guard. He's a returning leading scorer from last year. He's averaging 12.7 points a game in their 3 games. And he was a first-team All-Colonial Conference selection preseason. And he's also shooting the lights out from 3. He's shooting 40% from downtown. You've also got Torrance Watson, a transfer from Missouri, averaging double figures. Then you've got forward Michael Graham, who's actually averaging a double-double through the first 3 games of the season. 12 points, 10 rebounds. And he actually scored 16 against Florida. So he's had his best game against their best competition. Another thing Bob Huggins said about Elon in one of his press conferences was that they like to switch up their defenses. Play a 1-3-1, and they might switch to a man, and they might switch to a 2-3. So they're going to switch things up. He's looking forward to that because it's going to give his guys different looks to play against, because they're going to be facing all of these different types of defenses at some point throughout the season. So it'll get them prepared for that. I do expect West Virginia to win this game pretty handily, because I just don't think Elon is going. Obviously, they lost to Florida. I don't think they're going to see a team with the defensive pressure that West Virginia is going to give them. I hope West Virginia can get their rebounding woes fixed, because they're terrible rebounding the ball right now. Elon's averaging 40 rebounds a game. West Virginia's only averaging 26.5 rebounds a game. That's just terrible, especially for a Bob Huggins team. I know he's not happy with that. And West Virginia's also only shooting just over 50% from the foul line on the year. So West Virginia's not really been performing real well rebounding the ball or offensively. Where West Virginia's really been successful is on the defensive side. Their ball pressure has been fantastic, especially with guard Kedrian Johnson. Kedrian Johnson is averaging 5.5 steals a game. And West Virginia as a team, believe it or not, is averaging 9 blocks a game. Can you believe that? How long has it been since a West Virginia team averaged that in a game? I would say since Sagaba Konate was here, and they didn't. I don't think they averaged it. But Jalen Bridges and DeMond Kerrigan are both averaging 3 blocks a game apiece. So West Virginia's really doing well on the defensive end right now. Now Huggins says that they're not rotating as well as they should on shooters, so that's one concern, especially against a team like Elon who shoots the ball well. And he's not been real happy with his post play, with his bigs down low either. So if they can get those two things straightened out, I think West Virginia's going to be fine. I do think they beat Elon, though. I just don't think Elon can match up with West Virginia. I think West Virginia wins by double digits, 68-55. That's my score prediction. West Virginia over Elon, 68-55. West Virginia's only averaging 67 points a game. They're not a high-scoring team because they're going to have most of their success on the defensive end. They haven't been shooting a three as well as expected this year, but they can shoot it. And I think if Taz and Sean McNeill can get going, it's going to be a long night for Elon. West Virginia's second game will be against either Ole Miss or Marquette. Those two teams are playing each other, and then the two winners will play. When you look at Marquette, ESPN is predicting that Ole Miss to win the game. I think Ole Miss has about a 61% chance to win, but according to ESPN matchup predictor. But I'm going to break down both teams for you because we don't know who they're going to be playing. But you look at the Marquette Golden Eagles. They're 3-0 right now. They have wins over SIUE, and I'll be perfectly honest, I have no freaking clue who that is. New Hampshire, and then they got that big win over Illinois the other night. A 1-point win over Illinois on a last-second bucket. And Illinois was ranked 10th in the country at the time. So that was a big win. However, their win over New Hampshire was only by 5. And Illinois, that win over Illinois kind of has a little bit of an asterisk because their star player, Kofi Cockburn, the 7-footer who averaged over 17 points a game last year, he was out in that game. He was serving his last game of a 3-game suspension that was handed down from the NCAA. So Marquette is really not expected to be a very good ball team, even despite that win. When you look at Ken Palm and other analytic systems, they have Marquette at like the 88th best team in the country or something like that. So they're not expected to be good. However, I will never overlook or underestimate a Shaka Smart team. We know what they're capable of. We know he'll dial up the defensive pressure. We know they're going to want to get the run. We know they're going to want to get up and down the court. And we know that his team's come to play, and we know Shaka can coach. So they can't underestimate those guys. But if we do play Marquette, here's the keys to look at. The scouting report on Marquette is they foul a lot. They give up a really high percentage defensively behind the 3-point line, which that's a good thing for West Virginia because we've got shooters. McNeill, Sherman, and also Bridges, all three shooting the ball. All three can knock down the 3 ball pretty well. And they don't rebound the ball that well either. Now, obviously, West Virginia's been horrendous rebounding the ball. Marquette is averaging 76.7 points a game compared to West Virginia's 67. They're averaging 35.3 rebounds per game compared to West Virginia's 26.5. They're getting 8.7 steals a game compared to West Virginia's 14. And they turn the ball over about 12.3 times a game compared to West Virginia's 14 times a game. So there again, they haven't seen a team that will apply the same kind of defensive pressure that West Virginia does. So it's going to be interesting to see how, if West Virginia and Marquette do play, how they handle the defensive pressure. Kedrian Johnson and the transfer Malik Curry have both been just fantastic at the point guard position at applying ball pressure. Marquette's key players, Darryl Morsell. He's a 6'5 guard. He's a grad transfer from Maryland. He's averaging 22.7 points a game in their 3 games on nearly 60% shooting from the floor, shooting 56% from 3-point range. And that's just on offense. Defensively, he's also really good. He was actually the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten last year playing for Maryland. So Marquette got them a gamer in Morsell. They also have a 6'7 freshman forward named Justin Lewis, who's averaging 17 points a game and 9 rebounds a game right now for the Golden Eagles. Now let's look at Ole Miss, who is more than likely going to be the Game 2 opponent for the Mountaineers. Ole Miss has only played 2 games as well, just like West Virginia. They're 2-0. They've beaten New Orleans, and they've beaten Charleston Southern. They blew both of those teams out by 20 points plus. Ole Miss averaging 87.5 points a game, so they can put up points. They're also averaging 37.5 rebounds a game, about 11 more than West Virginia. 7.5 steals a game, not quite as many, only about half of what West Virginia's getting a game. And they turn the ball over about 10.5 times a game. There again, West Virginia's turning it over about 14 a game, which is not good, not really a great number. Their key players, Jarkel Joyner. He's their leading scorer from last year. He's averaging 18 points a game, shooting 61% from the floor, 55% from 3. But that 55% could be an anomaly. Since keep in mind they've only played 2 games. So he hasn't taken that many attempts yet. Last season, he only shot 26% from three. So the verdict is still out on how good of a three-point shooter he actually is. You may remember a player by the name of Jalen Bridges from Duke. Well, he transferred from Duke, and he's now playing at Ole Miss. He's only played, and in the 2 games, he started one of those games. He's averaging about 9 points. He's a 6'8" forward, sophomore. Wasn't really able to find a whole lot more info on Ole Miss. Like I said, the competition they've played has been, smaller teams so far. So they really, it's so early in the basketball season, it's really hard to break down these games because there's just not a lot of data out there and it hasn't been a lot of games played yet. And especially against, other Power 5 competition or Power 6 in the case of basketball. But, so it's really hard to break down. But if you just look at the stats here, Ole Miss would be a tough matchup for West Virginia potentially. Because they put up a lot of points and they could potentially challenge West Virginia at the guard spot with Joyner. It looks like he can shoot the ball, and he puts up 18 a game, so that can be challenging, really challenging. I'm glad West Virginia's getting to play some decent competition early in the season. These tournaments always offer that opportunity, and Huggins always likes it too. Plus, it gives them a little bit of a March Madness feel because these tournaments, they play 2 days in a row, then they get off a day, and then they play 2 more. So it's got that tournament feel to it. So it kind of gets them prepared for that. About this tournament, not only so I've told you about Elon, Marquette, Ole Miss. Other teams in this tournament are Temple, St. Bonaventure, Boise State, and Clemson. So you've got Clemson, who's a Power 5 team. You've got St. Bonaventure, who's actually the only top 25 ranked team in this tournament. So you've also got Temple, who's traditionally been good, and then Boise State. They're definitely not known as a basketball school, but they're getting better. So you've got some really good teams in this tournament. So what it's going to give West Virginia an opportunity to play some good competition early in the season. Hopefully get a lot of their young players some playing time. Get these new guys to gel with these veterans and just let them play ball, man. And I'm looking forward to watching these games. First game, West Virginia plays Thursday night, November the 18th against Elon at 9 p.m. I think the game is going to air on ESPN2. You may want to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to air. So I'm looking forward to tuning in. I know Elon's not an attractive opponent, but I'm really looking forward to that game too against either Ole Miss or Marquette. And this tournament's really going to give us a chance to see how good this West Virginia team really can be this year. Be ready. The basketball and football season both going on right now. I'm going to be putting out videos like a madman. You're going to be seeing a lot of this mug right here in the next 3 weeks. So be ready for it. Hide the children. Listen, please subscribe. Please give me the thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to share it with your basketball loving friends. And if you got football loving friends, share my football videos with them. I can't thank you enough for the support. I'm getting closer and closer to that 500 goal, which I'm wanting to reach by the end of the year. And I've got a few things in mind. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet, but when I get to 500, my plan is right now, I'm going to try to do my very first live call-in show once I get to 500 subscribers. I feel like that's kind of a way to celebrate. And I've got some other things I'm looking at potentially doing too, but I don't want to give it out just yet because I don't have all the details. But got a lot of exciting things planned for this channel. But anyway, hit the like button again, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.